Your perfect online life is leaving you in ruins offline. What's the cost of your happiness on the feed? Your perfect online life is leaving you in ruins offline. Every post, every filter, every forced smile for the camera. The world applauds your happiness, but you feel the emptiness, the anxiety of the next bill, the invisible debt that corrodes from within. What's the cost of your happiness on the feed? Have you felt the vertigo of spending what you don't have just to maintain an image? That necessary item for the perfect photo, which turns into another bill in real life. The relentless pursuit of validation, the vicious cycle of displaying and emptying. Byung-Chul Han describes the performance society, where you are forced to be happy, to produce, to show. Social media is the stage. You are not living, you are performing a life you don't have. An expensive play that steals your peace and your financial freedom. This video isn't about turning off Wi-Fi, it's about turning off the illusion. About unmasking the brutal price of your perfect life online. Are you ready to see the truth behind the filters? To break the chain of comparison and hidden debt? This pressure to maintain a perfect life online wasn't born in you, it was meticulously programmed. From childhood, advertising taught you that happiness is a product, and with every like on social media, you're rewarded for that belief. Your parents, perhaps unknowingly, reinforced the idea that to have is to be. The system molded you for performance. It taught you to have an insatiable hunger for external validation, to confuse digital acceptance with true worth. Robert Cialdini would explain how social proof manipulates you. You see others happy and feel you need the same to fit in, to be accepted. This is your inheritance, not an asset, but a debt of identity. Bought happiness became your silent religion. You go into debt to maintain the facade. Every brand item, every installment trip, every Instagrammable experience is another brick in your financial prison. It's the desperate pursuit of a like, a comment, that validates a self that isn't yours, but rather an expensive digital projection. The anxiety of not reaching these unrealistic standards consumes you, draining your peace and your money. Your online life isn't a storefront, it's a cell, and you're paying its rent with your own soul. Generation Z lives this viscerally, trapped in the snare of constant comparison, in the illusion that the perfect life is just a matter of more flaunting, more consumption. But what hides behind every photo is exhaustion, indebtedness, and loneliness. If this financial pain has visited you, comment below. Your photo gallery, your perfect feed. They aren't just images, they're an archive of your shadow. The fear of not being accepted, the envy of the other who seems to have it all, the desperate need for validation. All of this hides behind the filters and explodes in every photo op purchase. Jung warned, what you ignore in your soul becomes your executioner. Your debt is that executioner, the archetype of the digital performer. He wears the mask of unwavering success, the image of the rich and happy. But inside, there's a screaming void, a wounded child, trying to buy love and attention, the repression of deep fears. Fear of being seen as average, fear of not belonging. That's why you flaunt. That's why you spend what you don't have, to hide the financial insecurity that consumes you. The shadow feeds on this, on your pursuit of external applause. The identity crisis is visceral. One part of you longs for authenticity, for a real life, far from the spotlight. Another part, the shadow, pulls you towards the performance, towards the show of bought ideal life. Your account isn't just in the red. Your identity is on auction, fragmented by the guilt of pointless spending, by the regret of fleeting validation. Byung-Chul Han describes the transparency society, where everything needs to be exposed, including your false brilliance. This is your prison, a cycle of consumption for performance and the pain of emptiness. Fueled by the shadow, relentlessly, your mind screams for more. Because the silence of your real life is terrifying. It would reveal the abyss. The abyss you try to post your way out of. If this section about your consumption made sense to you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. You post, a cascade of dopamine. The like arrives. The relief is instant. The illusion that, for a moment, the void disappeared. This is the perfect trap of social media. The false freedom to have, to show, but never to be who you truly are. Gabor Mate was unyielding. Unresolved trauma seeks compulsion. Your credit card bill is the map of your open wounds. Every purchase, every installment, is a desperate attempt to fill what only authentic acceptance can heal. The market is a thirsty predator. It doesn't sell products. It sells escape from your comparison. The promise that the next acquisition will bring status, the validation you so desperately seek. But it only delivers more bills, more guilt, another vicious cycle of emptiness. Self-care turned into just another bill. Happiness on the feed, your new debt. You've become an obedient consumer, a performer of the perfect life, constantly buying to silence the anxiety of not being enough. Robert Cialdini would explain the hidden persuasion of social proof, the urgency to match what you see. The critique is brutal. You're not seeking happiness. You're buying temporary anesthesia for the pain of low self-esteem. Consumption has become your existential escape, the race to always have more, the obsession to show the world that you won. But the mirror doesn't lie. It reflects an exhausted, indebted soul. And the new item? Just another silent reminder of the void that persists. The spectacle society sells you the poison and you consume it believing it's the cure. Pause this video and write down this sentence. It could become a rupture with debt. You felt it. The bitterness of the empty like, the futility of that purchase for the photo. This is your consciousness waking up to the brutal truth. No post fills what's missing in the soul. No online validation heals a trauma. The way out isn't another item in your bag. It's a dive inward to question what you truly seek. There's no magic formula, no shallow influencer tips here. There is presence. The courage to stop performing, to feel the pain of comparison, to face your validation trauma. Gabor Mate was clear. Unresolved trauma seeks expression. Your flaunting is that expression. Money isn't the problem, it's the thermometer. It measures where you're wounded, where the need for external approval screams loudest, where the fear of not being enough consumes you. Jordan Peterson would speak of the need to find order in the chaos of your performative life. But this order doesn't come from the perfect filter. It comes from your soul. Reconstruction begins with ruthless acceptance. Stop hiding behind an impeccable feed. Look at your spending not with guilt, but with curiosity. What were you trying to prove? To whom? What void were you trying to fill with this expensive act? It's not about having more followers. It's about being more authentic, more present, more free. Ramit Sethi, in his own way, would point to the importance of conscious, not reactive decisions, aligning your financial actions with your life's purpose, not with the cycle of flaunting. Money can be an instrument of freedom, of purpose, of real impact, but only after you free yourself from the prison of the perfect online life, from that impulse that leaves you poor in money, time, and spirit. Financial authenticity isn't about possessions. It's about being. It's about finding wholeness within yourself, not in likes. It's about true freedom, the kind no screen can steal. Do you also feel this spending compulsion? Write in the comments. You've reached your limit. That point where likes aren't enough anymore, where the dopamine from consumption fades even before the photo is posted, where the void has become a black hole. There's nowhere left to hide online, nothing left to buy to be happy. The truth is this: you're not living, you're performing a life you don't have. You're not living, you're performing a life you don't have. Your soul screams for authenticity, for a real life, not for another acquisition or a perfect filter. Morgan Housel, in his Psychology of Money, understood that emotions dictate more than logic. It's time to confront the emotion that traps you, the relentless pursuit of external validation, the belief that your image is worth more than your peace, and replace it with the fullness of your own presence. You don't need to buy who you are, you already are. And that is the most brutal wealth, the most misunderstood, the freest. Feel the weight of flaunting, the guilt of invisible debt, and transform it into fury to change, to no longer define yourself by what you post, but by what you are. May this silence call you to your true completeness, to a life where money doesn't define your essence, True wealth isn't posted, it's lived. If flaunting traps you, comment. My real life matters more. Leave in the comments. Financial programming ends with me. Share this video with anyone still living on consumption autopilot. Subscribe if you want to keep breaking financial cycles with me.